Welcome to AstroEnergy with Astrologer Angel Shelley Overton. Well, certainly hope my language is okay. I just had a pretty good fall here in my living room, amazingly enough. I don't know how on earth it happened, but I think I was, and I hope you can hear me too, I was walking a couple feet away, and I think I tripped over this table that I have that I use for my show, and I lost my balance and stumbled backwards, and just when I thought I was able to get my balance, I lost it and fell backwards and hit my head on a very solid piece of end table and knocked my table over with my keyboard and my mouse. So this show is not not going too well yet, is it? So I was in a pretty good mood too, unfortunately. That kind of upset me a little bit, so I apologize for not being completely here in the moment, but we will get on with things. So I hope you've had a good week and everything is going well. I have had quite an interesting week of rain and flooding. We had the pumps were halfway down around my house, and now they're only full but overflowing. So that kind of tells you how intense this Neptune weather has been. Anyway, I hope I'm going to open up a chat room because I don't know if anyone can hear me. So hopefully you all can hear me. I've got a notification on the chat room. So let me know if you can hear me. And I guess if you can't hear me, you won't be able to tell me. So, okay. Let's see. Gosh, I'm a little scattered. I apologize. I'm actually going to take a quick call here and ask if you can hear me. So, hi, 202. Are you there?
Yep.
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yep. Can hear you just fine.
Okay, wonderful. I'm just going to put you back on hold. I just want to make sure you can hear through my headset since it isn't working properly right now. And we'll get to you in a few minutes. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So anyway, wow, I just need to take a breath. I mean, seriously, like 2 minutes before I went on here, so my head's still hurting a little bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the solstice at the end and everything at the end. I'll just do what's going on in the sky right now because that will kind of help ground me a little bit. So let me just see real quick what we have here. Today's Tuesday. I've got to get my chart up. Okay. So, and just to let you know, my headset, I can speak through the mic, but normally I would hear people through the headset, but they're coming through my computer out in the open air, not in my headset. So it's a little odd for me right now. Anyway, I haven't even told you who I am. Okay, so I'm Shelley Overton. I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and you're listening to the AstroEnergy show on Blog Talk Radio. So thank you very much for being here. And maybe we can get on with the rest of the show and have a little bit better vibe going on than we had at the beginning. So, okay, so here in Orlando, I've just got a now chart for Orlando, and that just means it shows me where the planets are and what rising sign is going on in Orlando at the current moment. And we have a 28-degree Leo rising. So that means that the energy is wrapping up some creative energy from this morning, and definitely I've been on the computer looking at a lot of different creative stuff, watching creative videos and art videos, which are one of my passions, watching art and painting art and doing all that. So we've got the North Node in Leo, again, energy that is transformative and profound in our lives can come in at this time. And also the South Node is in Aquarius, which means that there is the old energy of electrical, well, it's not even old energy, it's actually just energy. But in the fact that it's the South Node. It's energy that we bring into this life from the past lives that we have, or other memories and history in our timeline. And it's a familiarity that we can have around things that are technical or electrical, neurological, anything that might be unexpected, or, the whole Aquarian entity, energy, archetype. And so that's kind of right now, if you're in Orlando, which probably a few of you are, but not a whole lot, you're feeling a lot of this going on around creativity and clarity of thought, or, hit your head. I don't know. The first house is Virgo. We have no planets in Virgo today, and we have Jupiter in Libra, directly squaring. What is it squaring? It's not. Oh yeah, it is. It's directly squaring Mars. I'm sorry, still a little bit scattered, but Mars is in Cancer now. So Mars is in trine to Neptune, and so there's a lot of water in the air, a lot of water energy, drive, deep emotional things going on. Mars in Cancer, of course. Mars rules Aries. Aries rules the head. Cancer is the home, and there's a square to Jupiter, which is some transitions and relationship issues around home and family. So you may have some disagreements with children or partners at this time. And also Mars is taking action towards anything that you are passionate about, or it's masculine drive, but it's channeled through the Cancerian archetype. So it's around emotions and the moon and mother and nurturing and security around home. So we've got this energy that is connecting having security in the home and transitions around partnering or balance. So it will throw balance out of alignment, which is what Libra wants to do. It wants to have balance. It wants to have alignment. And Jupiter wants freedom. Mars in Cancer wants security. Sometimes freedom is at odds with security, because freedom doesn't necessarily care what happens in the fallout as long as the freedom is achieved. Mars in Cancer, again, the security, and security can be around money, it can be around knowing a person's there for you, or it can be having that connection to a parent or your mom or someone who is nurturing in your life. I have someone that is a good friend who definitely is making up for certain areas that I feel I haven't gotten as much nurturing, and she is a very loving, nurturing friend. So we can see that, or there may be disconnect right now from getting those feelings met. And I can tell you right now with Mars and Cancer, if there is upset or emotional blocks and any slights that may have been felt by one person, they may withdraw and not talk to the other person, because Mars and Cancer can be a really good passive-aggressive energy. And so if you have someone who is quote-unquote sensitive, I mean, we are sensitive, we're sensitive beings, and society probably doesn't support that as much. It's much more of left brain mental a lot of times. But when you have someone who gets their feelings hurt, or their feelings are closer to the surface and more readily available, that is right now today at odds with needing to have a balance within the relationship and a freedom within the relationship. So we're going to see some of that energy come out. And it also is connected to foreign energy. And so there's a combination here. Mars in Cancer represents America, because we're a Cancerian country. And so that from an American standpoint is homeland. And then Jupiter is foreign energy. So it also represents the diplomacy going on with other countries. And from their point of view, they would be the homeland. And from our point of view, we're the homeland. And so we have this kind of conflict going on between these two energies. And Sun is at 29 degrees and 28 minutes of Gemini. So he is about to go into Cancer on, tomorrow night. Actually, tonight. I take it back. And I again apologize for not having my head on straight. It got a little shaken up. I'm going to run just 2 steps away and be right back because my book that I would have had in that timeline is across the room here. Hang on one second. Okay, there we go. So I have a daily planner that I reference when I'm doing the show, and that was just out of reach. So I can tell you exactly when the sun goes into Cancer. And so first off, the new moon is at 6:07 p.m. on the 23rd, but the sun goes into Cancer at 12:24 a.m. Wednesday morning Eastern Time and 9:24 p.m. tonight in California. So now you have a little bit clearer view. And so what does that mean? Well, it's not just the sun. Mercury is also right next to the sun at 28 degrees Gemini, and they are both just past a direct opposition to Saturn at 24 Sagittarius. So the sun opposing Saturn, again, there is that difficulty in getting needs met. I would bring Trump into it only because he just had his birthday, so his solar return was recent, which means these energies are affecting him, and he is affecting the country as a whole. So there's difficulty, obviously. Saturn is career. Saturn in Sagittarius is about restricting forward motion, restricting foreign energies, and retrograde means going back towards the past, learning the lessons of the past and how we can grow and resolve some of the career choices. This is for everybody as well. Saturn in Sagittarius is education. It's real estate. I mean, I say this every week. So education, real estate, music, comedy, travel, sports, nature, being outdoors, being free, anything that gives us a sense of freedom, travel, airline travel. All these things are Sagittarian. And so all those areas can be affected right now by not hearing so the person who's Saturn in Sagittarius or who is being affected in that capacity is feeling an opposition from maybe friends, from neighbors, from associates, siblings. All those are Gemini. So the ego from siblings, and it's the sign of the twins. So I have a friend who's a twin, so there can be some discord with siblings. And Mercury rules Gemini, also at end degrees. So what happens is at the end degrees, it is about wrapping up a story that we were going through. So it's about words that were not said, words that were miscommunicated, misunderstood, or flat out untrue. So we have all this energy around words because Gemini rules words. Gemini rules communication. And it also rules small appliances. So, I hope my keyboard works because now is a potential time to have some difficulty with that. So as Sun goes into Cancer, I guess I'll just touch on the solstice now. Sun goes into Cancer, and obviously we have the longest day of the year. And so it is the point, I'm going to just read to you because I have it from online. The summer solstice is also known as midsummer, occurring when a planet's rotational axis or geographic pull on either its northern or its southern hemisphere is most inclined toward the star that it orbits, obviously the sun. On the summer solstice, Earth's maximum axial tilt towards the sun is 23 degrees and 23.44 degrees. So it's basically the longest day of the year for the northern hemisphere. And so we have that fullness of the sun and that energy of connectedness to a higher power, a higher energy is really strong right now. And of course, the opposition to the sun and Cancer would be Capricorn. So the Capricorn energy is also feeling it very strongly now. opposing the Saturn, Sun opposing Saturn, but also the entity of authority is also being opposed, and we're being asked to embrace more of a community sense, a community feel. Mercury at late degrees, Gemini also, Sun, ego, Mercury, communication, and also there can be accidents. I hate to say it, but we had a couple fires last week which were amazing. I mean, the Grenfell Tower in England was like, it just brought back 9/11 for me. Having Mercury go into a new sign, then join up with Mars as it opposes Saturn within those 8 degrees. So it's going to be really strong energy. And, our Mars is action, so it can create this something that can happen between water and air, which is electrical, cable. There was just a release today in the news of a lot of, like 200 million, it's like every week I report this, 200 million GOP addresses, and I'm not even sure if they're related to the GOP, but they're definitely Americans' addresses and information were leaked on a server on Amazon with no password. So that's the kind of thing that comes to light. Actually electrical outages, and with all this storm going across the country right now, or even up to New Orleans, that, again, storms are also Gemini, not just Aquarius. So flooding is kind of the result with Mars and Cancer. So we'll see that. And then Mars is also moving into trine with Neptune, which, the way I read astrology, and honestly, I can tell you I don't know other astrologers' methodologies necessarily, so maybe others do it this way too, but when you have a trine, which Mars is running into with Neptune, you can see a difficulty arise followed by something that flows. So it's almost like a resistance of a shift, and then the flow comes into being, and we get on board, and it's more supportive because that aspect trine is 120 degrees apart, which is seen as a positive aspect. But I've seen accidents happen and major events happen with trines in the chart. So I definitely see the connection with trines and having events come. So that may happen. But at the same time, the positive thing going on here is Moon is joining, really lovely energy going on with sextile, not only between Mars and Venus and Neptune, but Sun, Mercury also will be coming into that positive sextile with Venus, and probably within the next 24 hours, the Moon. So, not probably, will come into it with the Moon. And then also the Moon and Venus trine Neptune. So Venus and the Moon are in Taurus. Again, that's material goods. That's love. Venus rules love. So it's relationships of romance or the commitment between two people, the expression of love, the expression of beauty. So that will actually help whatever goes on. If anything is difficult coming our way, we're going to have money to back up doing something about it, and easing or massaging, assuage. That's the word that comes to mind. Boy, it must be difficult listening to me. I'm sorry, but when I start this show and something unexpected happens, it really throws me off. So I'm really still trying to get out of the emotion of the situation and back into my left brain so I can help teach you about astrology. So bear with me. Anyway, the sextiles all over that same area of the chart are really positive because we have the earth energy working with the water energy. So while I look out my window and I see the water in the ditches, which were really dried out recently, now they are creeks. And I see that water coming by, and I have a beautiful little garden that I planted, which last year was very dry and had difficulty thriving. This year is thriving really well because of all the rain. And that's what moon Venus in Taurus will do. It will give you a way to grow from whatever happens. And so no longer are we in the air energy in this coming week. We're going to be in the water energy. So we have to look to what the water energy can do for us. And as Gemini energy comes to a close, it's the energy of ideas, concepts, communication of those ideas with other people. It also rules the hands and arms. So we may have something going on that we are hands-on with that will start to come more to fruition as we see these planets move into Cancer. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know about you, but I am. And so we have Uranus in Aries, and he is going direct right now. He has a trine to Saturn within 3 degrees of an exact trine to Saturn right now. And again, that can mean a bit of upheaval, but it also means strong energy moving towards creating and manifesting ideas and connection to other people of other cultures. And also sales are really good for people of other cultures with this energy, because you have Aries, which is the sign of sales and marketing, and Uranus, which is electronics, and also entrepreneurship. So if you have that, now is a really great time for online sales, for looking into things like promotion through electronic media, such as Instagram or YouTube. And so that actually, it will cause some electronic difficulties, but it will also give you opportunities for more growth and positivity. We have Neptune, I do the Pluto. I don't know if I've ever said this, but Pluto has 2 different glyphs, and one is like the letter P with a bottom coming out like an L. And that's the one I normally use, but in my computer program, there's also another one, which is very similar to Neptune, only instead of the middle fork coming up, it's got a little dot. And so for a second, I mistook it for my Neptune glyph, but it's actually Pluto. So I don't think I've ever mentioned that. There were actually 2 glyphs for Pluto before, but yep, my mind is a little bit out of it, so I mistook it. And that's the one that's on my computer program. So Pluto, not Neptune, is in square to Jupiter now. And Jupiter, having gone direct, he is moving closer and closer to Pluto. So this is major change around the structure of relationships. I would also say it's major change around government and the structure of balance within the government, and also relationships and marriage can go through physical changes, which may mean moving in together or moving apart, but generally a square is separating energy and difficulty. So we may see more of that in the next few weeks as Jupiter continues going into an exact square. So I'll just give you a real quick idea of how long that's going to take. So Pluto is right now at 18 degrees. It's actually a 2-month aspect till it's in exact square. So it exactly squares around the beginning of August, the first week of August. And so we've got that approaching square starting to be more and more difficult right now. Again, for our personal lives, it can be authority and how we, like my son comes to mind being in college. So college students may be at odds with their parents. The Jupiter energy, education, higher education, and Pluto is authority in Capricorn. So there could be conflict there. There can be conflict between the church and government, which also Jupiter rules spirituality. So the balance is out of balance right now with authority, with power structures, which Pluto represents. Okay, so honestly, I think that is where I'm going to stop for this intro, and I really want to talk to people. It helps ground me more, so I'm going to take a quick break, get a sip of water, and I'll see you back in a few minutes, and then we'll take calls, and I look forward to it. If you want to have a call answered, a question answered, just hit your 1 on your keypad, and I'll get right back to you. Well, hello and welcome back to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show. My name is Shelley Overton and I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida. And you can get me at astrologerangel.com if you would like to have a private reading with me. And I want to thank you for being here. I am, if you've just joined us, I'm still kind of getting over having fallen just before the show and whacked my head on a nice solid end table. So I have a little kink in my neck, but I think I'm going to be okay. So we're going to take some callers, and I think that's going to help. Oh, and the headset, of course, is having its issues. So hopefully it won't be too echoey when I take callers because you may hear it through my mic because I'm hearing it through my computer out loud in the room. And generally, I'm a little bit more conscious about your listening experience, but electronic equipment, of course, is having its issue. And, Mercury at 28 Gemini means that I'm probably going to lose my headset through this whole thing. Oh, well, we'll get on with it. So let's see. We're going to talk to 202. Hi, 202. Thank you for staying by me and listening. So good to talk to you.
Hey, Shelley. How are you? I'm sorry that you fell.
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet. But, let me see. Okay, so I know you've called before, but tell me your name again.
Kay, and I'm calling.
Hi, Kay.
You're right about the influx of men coming in. I have another one that I want you to check out. I have his birth info and give him the time. It's a Uranus.
Oh, awesome.
Venus.
Okay.
It's awesome.
I know, right? Yeah, that's amazing energy. Jeez. Okay,
Never in
so
my life. It's awesome.
I'm just going to rearrange a couple things. Okay, give me the birth date, place, and time.
Okay, so the birthday is November 11th, 1976.
Okay. And what time?
At 7:10 p.m. in Montreal, Canada.
Where?
Montreal.
Okay. Got it. That's, yeah, let me see what I get here. Okay. Come on, Atlas. Don't fail me. Don't fail me. Please, nothing else go wrong. Oh, have mercy. Okay. No, of course. I lost his birth date. 1975, you said?
No, 1976.
6. Okay. At 7:10?
7:10 p.m. Yep, November 7th.
Okay. Montreal is in Quebec,
Canada.
right?
Yep, Quebec. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, because I put Montreal, Canada, and it didn't like that in my atlas. It's like, what are you talking about? So, okay.
Quebec is fine.
All right. Okay, so let me just save that real quick, and we'll see. I know I sound scattered. I'm sorry if I sound scattered,
That's okay.
and I'm just a little flustered.
I know you're super mercurial like me, so it's all good.
So,
a lot of Virgo.
Okay. Let's see. So you just want to kind of know what it looks like for him, huh?
Yeah. What does it look like? He's intense. I'd like to know if it's bullshit or what. I like intense, but it's like, seems like he could be with anybody.
It feels like he could be with anybody?
Well, the difference between like a man that's pursuing you heavily versus like a man that just pursues any person heavily. I know that sounds weird, but
so it sounds like desperate. Is he desperate, or is he just disinterested?
He's interested with a slight desperation, I'd say, which could be very flattering to me if it's real, or I don't know.
Right. Well, I can tell you he is a deep person. He's got a lot of Scorpio. He's got Sun, Mercury, and Mars in Scorpio. So he does have a lot of that. And then he's got 2 planets in Sagittarius. And I do kind of have a rule of thumb around Sagittarius is that it is a sign of freedom, which means that they are kind of, they'll scatter their seeds and see what takes, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the energy, but he also has Venus at 27 Sag, which means that he also has Saturn right near his Venus right now, saying you've got to be responsible for how your energy is around women. And so the thing I would pick up on from him personally, I I'm just getting that he's been called out for his behavior before. That's what I'm
He
picking
hasn't
up.
been, or he has been?
That he has. Yes, he has.
Oh, yeah,
That,
sure.
you know, he may have been caught cheating before, and he's been called out for it. So, yeah, it's really strong. And you've got
what do you see that
Neptune
says
is
that?
right near his. Pardon me?
What aspect do you see that says that to you?
No, that isn't an aspect. That's intuition.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
That's
okay.
just me picking up that. I mean, probably from what you said, it just strikes me as that's the energy I'm picking up. That it just came through that way. So you do have I can't. Shelley, get it together. Saturn at 16 Leo. He has Saturn at 16 Leo, and so that's in positive aspect to your Neptune. But there's an attraction aspect and also a connectedness and a responsibility and an ownership with that. He does have Mars, again, in Scorpio, which is on your Uranus. So for you, Uranus in Scorpio is going to be needing freedom, but also highly intuitive around the people you attract in. And for him having Mars, you can strike him as a little distant as well, which may be part of why he's attracted to you.
Yeah, probably.
Do you feel that? Because
I'm
going to tell you.
That he has Uranus on his sun, which I think is interesting. Like, you know, I think that he would, from knowing his past or the little bit that I know, you know, his ex-wife was an Aquarius, which is an interesting Scorpio combination. Like, he has a sad story about women. Like, he got dumped. He was engaged and got dumped, and his wife also dumped him. So that's a pretty red flag to me as well.
Why these people dumped? You got to find out why they dumped him. Is he learning his lesson?
Someone always has their side of the story. So according to him,
right,
the first person, it was, you know, they wanted to try something new with someone new. You know, so they wanted to move on. And the second person, it sounded like she had like some kind of personal issues with her own father that kind of came up and made her go off. But I always take what people, you know, it's a grain of salt. That's his story, you know.
Yeah. Well, definitely if you're paying attention to what he's saying, you're going to get more information. I'm looking at his chart. You know, I had his in your chart, the bi-wheel with you at the center, but his chart, he has a Cancer rising. So definitely he has mommy issues. Everybody has mommy issues. Let's just call it what it is. But he has moon in the first house in Cancer, so he definitely identifies with his mother. Yeah, and he also has a trine from his moon to all the Scorpio in his chart. So, and that's in the house of children. So there's some, I would tend to say there's information he's withholding that has to do with children for him. So maybe he doesn't know about children. Issues. Yeah.
But maybe even more.
So, so he definitely has the children issues. All his Scorpio, everything. He's got North Node, Uranus, Sun, Mercury, and Mars all in his house of children. He's got Pluto at 13, which is exactly where Jupiter is today, at 13 degrees Libra at the last degrees of his house of home and family. So he's going through that. Is that the marriage thing? Is he in a divorce? Is that what that is?
Yeah, he got divorced, but apparently they're still working out like custody issues. Because they're in another state, and he wants them to come up here, and
Well, I definitely see he's at the end. Hang on one second. I've got to. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. He's at the end degrees of his home and family life. Like there's a major transition with the Jupiter on his Pluto. Very, very strong energy for that. And then when Jupiter gets into Scorpio, it's going to shift his mind to wanting another relationship. He probably already feels it because the transition comes at 17 Libra, not at 0 Scorpio. So he's already looking for that. You know, men don't use, I mean, this is my experience, and I apologize to men who are listening if this is not you, but I know that when men are in a relationship, it's almost an ego thing to find someone else right away so they can transition. A lot of times, I don't think men really process the emotion that the ending had, and they're more in their ego or, their manhood is challenged, so that they look for another person to balance that and to feel like, okay, I'm really desirable to the opposite sex or to another person, even of the same sex, or whatever their predilection is. So he's already geared towards finding that next person. On top of the fact that Saturn's on his Venus as well, within 3 degrees. And so Saturn on his Venus, he wants someone new, and I think he's looking for someone, maybe someone within his work environment. Do you know anything about his work environment, or did you meet him through work?
I did not meet him through work. I know he works in a kind of crazy surgical place that everybody is wild there, apparently.
Oh, really?
It's like doctors and, everybody's on drugs, and, it sounds crazy.
What kind of place does he, what is the field?
It's a hospital. A hospital.
Oh.
People that do surgery.
Well, doctors have a lot of access to drugs.
Yeah, they do. Gave me the real story, so,
yeah, well, Saturn is coming in, and I mean, of course, Saturn's retrograde right now, which in position to his Venus, it's actually going back to the past. So he is still, until late August, he's still dealing with the old issues around women and in the workplace. I would be aware that his workplace may have issues you don't know about, he may not have told you about yet. I'm not saying that he's a bad person necessarily. I do see that he has a lot of stuff going on in his chart that he has to cope with before the end of the year. So he's got a few months left of a lot of intense stuff, and Jupiter is definitely going to make him much more aware of his need to have a deep relationship, a deep creative thing. And let me go back to your chart. I want to see where your Sag is. So you have Neptune in Sagittarius, which is only a few degrees away from his Venus. So what he's doing for you is he's showing you the side of you want to express romantically. Okay? So whatever you're attracted to in him, he seems like an idealized version, or maybe vice versa too, because his Venus is on your Neptune, but his Neptune's at 12 Sag and yours is at 22. So you guys have like this Neptune connection, which is you have a similar view of spirituality, a similar view towards the freedom that you want from life. The difficulty overall would probably be that he has a Cancer rising, you have a Sagittarius rising. But your Sagittarius rising fits with his moon because it puts Cancer in your house of marriage and partnership, and his Saturn's in your house of commitment. So he does bring this loving, childlike enthusiasm to things, and a certain amount of that generosity and freedom, and creativity of spirit. You really like that. So I get that. Let me see. Yeah, and his Jupiter's in an Earth sign, and your Jupiter's in an Earth sign. Your Jupiter's near your Saturn. Or no, not near your Saturn, just the perspective my program has. Your Jupiter's at 4 degrees, Saturn's at 24. And his Jupiter is at 26 Taurus. So your Saturn is in positive aspect to his Jupiter. So what that means is that you definitely have like a healing energy that can come about, and you can help him heal some of the energy around the extreme behavior he has in relationships.
He has extreme behavior in relationships? No.
He can. Yeah. Sagittarius is the energy of kind of extremities. So a lot of times people with Mars, Mars and Saturn, any heavier planets in Sagittarius, they really enjoy the rush. And so,
and I actually do too. Even with my rising.
So that's that's the adrenaline rush is what you may feel with this, but his Jupiter in trine to your Saturn, and then his Saturn in your 8th house, which is a Scorpio house, very deep, intense energy. This is not a relationship without chaos, but it also has connections in your chart. Like definitely the Mars Uranus, your Uranus, his Mars. You're going to have like this intense give and take, like, I connect to you on a very deep, passionate sexual way, deep emotions, and then
now I'm gone. But now I'm back. But now I'm gone. So if you can handle that, this is your guy.
Yeah.
Your Venus is on his Chiron, which means that you're also kind of a representation of how to heal his wounding on some level. And it is the wounded healer that Chiron is, and it can mean that he's looking to be healed from some of the relationships he's had, and you are a manifestation of that. But at the same time, your Venus is on his wounding. So you're going to have to deal with his wounding. He's going to have those issues. You know, he'll project them onto you. That's part of it. So those are the things. If you can handle it, that's kind of what I see.
All right. He sounds like a wild dude.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that you wouldn't necessarily connect. He does have Saturn in Leo, which means he wants to commit to romance. He's a romantic, and he is
definitely
about
romantic.
Children. You know, he has a quality that, I mean, obviously very childlike, and that's going to be something he carries with him, but he can also be a leader. Saturn and Leo is leaders. So, okay.
Cool.
Yeah, well, let me know
if
he's an ongoing guy. We'll look deeper into his chart next time, okay?
10-4. I will keep you posted. Thanks, Shelley.
Okay, take care. Bye, Kay.
You too.
All right, let's see. 651. Hi, 651. How are you?
Hi, it's Linda. I'm
Hi,
okay.
Linda. Oh, good. Let me just
interesting. I'm kind of wondering what's like currently happening in my chart, like for the next month or so, or what's been happening.
Okay, hang on 1 second.
Okay.
I thought you had called before, but I don't see a chart for you, so let's get your chart done here.
Oh, yeah, I've called lots of times. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not in my database. So hang on 1 second. I just 651.
Okay.
And I'm just putting in your information that I have so I can find you again. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, it's October 2, 1953.
Okay.
3:10 p.m.
Okay.
St. Paul, Minnesota. St. Paul, Minnesota.
Okay. Gotcha.
That's weird. You should have like 5 charts with mine.
I know. Well, I've got the area code. I put them in by area code, but I don't have it. And I did just switch computers, and I had to input my old files into my new computer, and I switched it over. But I noticed that it's like an older version of my file, so it may be that. But even though you called last week, it should be in there, but I don't see it for some reason.
Actually, last week.
Anyway.
We've talked lots in the past, but anyway, so did it take? Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. So tell me what you'd like to look at.
It's kind of, what's been happening. I've just really been, especially the last 3 days, just like spacey, and my sleep patterns are all messed up. I'm waking up at like 3 and 4 in the morning, and not being able to get back to sleep. I mean, I can stay in bed and just rest and be peaceful and whatever. And what you said about words, I believe I'm in the doghouse with my son again, over a conversation when he called at 8:30 in the morning, and I said some things that I probably wish I wouldn't have said, but are very true.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I'm not
just
fully conscious at 8:30 in the morning, so that relationship.
No, I just had I had a conversation yesterday with a friend, my daughter's friend, and basically she's like, "Well, it's true," and I'm like, "Just because it's true doesn't mean it should all be said."
Right.
So,
it just came out. It just came out in the dynamic, and because it was early in the morning and things like that. It was
you know why it came out?
Oh, why did it come out?
It came out it came out because the Sun and Mercury are together, sitting right on your Jupiter in your house of children, and Mercury communicating it, and Jupiter doesn't really pay much attention to the fallout, so Mercury's right there triggering it, and that's Mercury was on your Jupiter in your house of sons and daughters, and so that's what it is. And again, it's like wrapping it up, and so it's going to be okay. When when Sun and Mercury move into Cancer, it'll still be in your house of children, and it'll be in positive aspect to Venus. Of course, Moon will be past by the time those two planets get into Cancer. The Moon will be almost into Gemini. So you're probably going to revisit it because, of course, anything that happens with the Gemini energy gets done more than once. And when the Moon goes into your house of home and family, and then ultimately in a couple days it'll be in Gemini. I'll tell you when that happens. I'm sorry, I'm just scooting over here. I've got to figure out what today's the 20th. Yeah, it gets in the 23rd on Friday, Saturday. You're going to probably revisit it again. And, you just, with the Moon at the same place that you were already talking, it could re-trigger some stuff. If you can hold off until Moon is in Cancer, that would be helpful. And that's going to be the 24th, so by Saturday.
Yeah, well, that all
depends
on whether he calls me, because he's clearly not returning my calls. I've left like 2 apology messages, and and both of them just said, I'm sorry I upset you. I'm sorry I disappointed you. I'm sorry you feel like I'm not.
Well, that's very sweet that you would do that. That's thoughtful.
Yeah, and it's please forgive me and extend grace and mercy for your old mother who isn't awake at 8:30 in the morning. And doesn't have filters, and isn't conscious and isn't like fully present, and
right.
And
well, Mars in Cancer, Mars in Cancer right now is like, again, passive aggressive through silent treatment. That's like their calling card is silent treatment. So he's giving you silent treatment, which is sending a very clear message that he was hurt and you've apologized, you've done what you can, and now, honestly, you just need to sit back and wait for him to come around. And he probably will come around because Moon will get right there. The Moon is going to go over that degree this weekend, and it'll join up with Mars. And so Moon and Mars in Cancer, you'll have a chance to talk to him, and it'll be more nurturing, but let him have his silent treatment for the time being because he's just licking his wounds. Okay.
Yeah, well, I'm sure I hit a button because what came out, what came out too was, it was like, well, when you go on those, when you continually rant, when you go on those rants, I don't remember how I said it, but it's like, because when you go on rants all the time, I said it seems like you're using the victim-controlled drama, not the interrogator-controlled drama. And he said, I am being victimized, and this is my safe space. I thought this was my safe space.
Oh, that's okay. He recognizes.
I said, it's okay. I'm just throwing it out there because when I used to go on rants like that, you're the one who told me I was being a victim. But it was like, sorry. Yeah. This is too early in the morning for this conversation.
But you know what?
What's up with my, my just being out of it and spacey and like just weird.
How old's your son?
He's 36. He just turned 36 in April. He's Aries.
Okay.
He's Aries moon too.
Yeah,
and Sagittarius rising.
Yeah, but Mars is in conjunct to Sag, and it's squaring all his Aries. So, it's almost like predetermined that he was going to have a fight because his ruling planet is in the sign of Mother. So, and Aries.
Yeah, it was.
Honestly, Aries.
It's like, oh my God! And then it was like I said, it was hours later, and I go, oh my God, why did I say that? Because it was just a couple other things that I said too, and I was really being a mother. And he even ended up saying, "I'm not a child."
Aw.
It's like, well, you're kind of behaving like a child and a victim at that. For that matter, I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking.
Well, I think that's ironic. It's ironic because Aries is kind of the sign of the child, and even though they grow up into adults, they still have that connection to that new human energy where, wow, like everything's new. Like if a little toddler comes out and he's like looking and curious and says whatever, like, as someone comes in the room who, has something like smudged on their face, he'll point it out right away because they have no filters. So they're just new and curious and enthusiastic, and that's the Aries energy. So, I wouldn't beat myself up too hard about it because Aries, from my connection to the Aries I've had in my life, they don't hold grudges. So they feel, Aries needs to feel a fight because it's actually the contrast that gives them a sense of self. So they almost create the fights. You know, they look for it because it stimulates them. It makes them feel alive. It's a fire sign, and they want to do something physical and something that gets their blood going. It all, believe it or not, Aries rules the blood. So to have their blood pumping and get that adrenaline in their veins, I mean, they feel better when they've fought. So I think honestly, you probably on some level.
That's what his anger is all about.
Yeah, and Mars is squaring all that, so he's projecting it onto you. But you've had, honestly, I would say look at it like a benefit because you're showing him the mirror, and there's a concept in Buddhism called the clear mirror, and the mirror is people in your life reflecting back what you need to see. So, I mean, I know. It does, like, oh, no, you want to be nice all the time. You don't necessarily have to be nice all the time, but you have to come with good intent. So, you know, if you're lashing out at him, maybe you've gotten frustrated, but maybe he needs to see it so he can be aware of, yeah, you know what, I was blaming my mom, and she was right. I do exactly what she just did, and maybe he needs to go through some growth. So you can't beat yourself up over, I mean, let me tell you, mother guilt. I raise my hand. Mother guilt. There's always mother guilt.
I know.
So I would just encourage you to
when
wait
am I going to
until
get some
Saturday
clarity? Because like I said, I just feel like I've been in a fog for weeks.
Oh, well, you know, Neptune is fogging us all. Definitely.
It's just me.
Yeah, but you know, you've got the Gemini energy at late degrees. That could also do it, but Neptune, I mean, you've had the fog, if it's been over a couple of weeks, Mercury is squaring Neptune in the sky right now. And so that's creating it, believe me. You know, anytime you've got Neptune with the planets going through Gemini or Virgo, or even, Gemini, Virgo, or Sag, will all be squaring Neptune. And when there's a direct hit, you can pick up on that. Wherever the moon was, so the moon's in Taurus today. You said recently, moon was in Pisces a few days ago, and it was right on Neptune. That's the fog, let me tell you. Literally,
and I've been crying, like waking up crying Sunday, Monday, and crying yesterday, and weeping. You know, even weepy today. It's like, what the world?
Yeah.
What?
Well, you can't underestimate the power of intuition. And definitely I've had the sensation of feeling like that kind of sadness. It's almost like I'm mourning, but there was nothing I could attribute it to, and that tells me that you're picking up. I will tell you, you're potentially picking up the collective energy, and we're going through so much right now. I don't know if you're feeling it, but I'm just being knocked around by the emotion because I'm a highly sensitive person intuitively, and you know, anytime there's a lot of Neptune energy, which Neptune just retrograded last weekend, remember?
Right.
So it shifted, and the moon was right there also. So it's been a lot of Neptune foggy energy, and now Mars is in Cancer, and Cancer is a water sign. So definitely we still have that. So I would not worry
because I
keep
getting mental pictures of suicide, too. Like this morning, you know, I mean, I'm not urging to kill myself by any means, so there's, you know, nobody called the police or anything like that. But you know, this feeling like
Jupiter
I wanted to, and then today, you know, like yesterday was like, God, I just want to swallow something and go to sleep and wish I could be done with this, this experience here in this earth. And then today, which I've never ever thought about, I keep getting this picture of somebody slitting their wrists. And it's like, you know, even back
I definitely think you're picking up on something. I do think you're picking up on it. And I want you
what am I picking up on?
I want you to look at it.
Never do that.
I mean, when you have thoughts of, like, hopelessness, sometimes, I mean, I'm not saying all, but definitely being an intuitive person, being someone who picks up on stuff easily, you can pick up, and I can tell you when you're in a low point or you go into certain places or you've had a glass of wine, you leave yourself open for spirits and spirit attachment. And, I don't talk a lot about this, but I can tell you I absolutely believe that psychic people or people who are highly sensitive, emotionally empathic, will pick up other people. And if you're getting pictures in your mind, that's one way spirit talks to you.
Right.
Pictures, I get that. I get flashes that are very, I could draw what comes into my head. And so when you get a picture of that, don't look at it as if it's you. I think everybody heard that. That's what you get to hear, what the British lady tells me every week. But I do want to tell you, first off, you have Jupiter, which is transitions in the 8th house of death and dying and rebirth. And so that could be some of the energy you're picking up, that it's focused on the process of death. Anybody who has Scorpio in their chart knows what that's about. It's very intense, okay? You have Jupiter. Okay, hush up. You've got Jupiter at the end degrees of the 8th house, and then it's going to hit your Neptune as soon as it gets into the next house. And I can tell you, let me tell you, the joy that is on the other side of that. It's crazy.
Oh, I can
because
hardly wait.
Jupiter is a very buoyant energy. You just had it retrograde. Now it's going direct. It just went direct recently in the last 2 weeks, I think. It's direct now. So it's moving to the end of that whole deep energy, which is your 8th house. And when it hits 19 degrees, I will tell you, 19 degrees for you is going to be August. August is a very big month. I've been doing a lot of readings, and there's a lot of stuff going on in August, including Saturn going direct. So I'm just going to let you know, the people who are listening live will not hear the show, but you can hear it in the archives, and then and everyone in the archives will still hear this. So bye to those who are listening live. But Jupiter will move into the next house, and when it does, it hits your Neptune, it hits your Mercury, and it hits your Saturn. And basically it's telling you now's the time in your life to do something that you really want to do. It's your Neptune. It's life transition around making your dream happen. Do not see this as, yes, it's all over. I understand. I absolutely understand the feeling of wanting it to be done, but that is the universe saying, okay, you're at the end of a cycle. You have Jupiter at 26 Gemini. You're at the end of the cycle, and it's in positive aspect. You've got Sun, Mercury on your Jupiter, and transiting Jupiter coming up on your Neptune, and just past your Sun. It's opening up for you, and it is the end of an old feeling, but that doesn't, I've got chills for you. It doesn't mean that it's over. It means that you're letting something go. So what you're doing is you may be mourning something that used to be there, but recognize that it's a mourning process, and it is good on the other side. I absolutely, that's saying that, suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. It is a temporary problem. But I do want to also leave you with the idea that if you're getting flashes of something, to me, that's a dark energy. That's not anything positive, and it's not something to take to your heart. That, like, spirit will talk to you through positive things. Anything that comes across as negative, you may either be literally picking up someone who is trying to get a message through to you, or a negative energy trying to influence you. Do not listen to it. It's not about you. I mean, if you can look at it in a different way and see that it may be that you're just a highly sensitive person, and that you may be picking up someone else's energy, that will help you. And absolutely, it's positive on the other side. Please, August is going to be awesome.
I was wondering. That's what I was wondering. It's like, wow, did I pick up something dark somewhere, or is this somebody else's, or But I'm just laying low today because it's hanging around. So I'll do some stuff.
Well, the hanging around, definitely the fog of Neptune can be there. And whenever there's a lot of that kind of foggy feeling, that can be also spirit. That's spirit energy. It's like, think about it, ethereal or astral, or there's an etheric body. Sorry, girls.
Yep.
There's an ethereal body. Like your astral body has a density, and this is getting into something I don't normally get into, but I can tell you I've studied for a long time. So your body is like your spirit body getting close to the earth plane has to be denser to be here. So if you're feeling that fog, I absolutely think that you've probably picked up a spirit attachment of some sort, and that is influencing you. And don't take it on as if it's you. Because if you start to really tune in to when you know you've had an original thought, you can feel the original thought, right?
Right.
When it comes into you as if someone's talking to you, someone is talking to you. It's not you. So pay attention to that, okay?
All right.
Anyway.
Thank you.
I hope that helps. Please call back anytime, okay? All right. Thanks so much for the call, Linda. All right. Bye-bye. And thank you, everyone else, for calling in. Please do call in early next week. I know you did, and I want to thank you for waiting, but this was an unusual show, and I want you to call back in early next week because I would love to talk to you. Thank you for listening, and that's the end of the show, and we will see you next week. Bye. Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at ironwoodrain.com.
To subscribe, please click the picture of Shelley on the right or the red button below.